Hello, my name is Antonio, and this is the commentary for Cooking with Brennen Pizza. So, this is the second episode of the second season of Cooking with Brennen. And the inspiration behind this episode was I just wanted to do an episode where we made Brennan's favorite food. And I don't know if Brennan actually knew that's the reason why I wanted to do this episode. But yeah, basically I asked Brennan like what his favorite food was, and he told me it was pizza. And so I was just like, all right, we're gonna do a pizza episode of Cooking with Brennan. And further than just that, like I just thought making pizza in an episode was just like a good idea. Like I just thought that was like a cool, a logical thing to make in an episode, because I feel like pizza is like a very it's a thing that chefs make on cooking shows. I don't know. It just felt right. It felt appropriate, and it gave me an excuse to write an episode where Brennan wears a chef's hat. I just thought that was like a really good like visual component to the episode, and this was the only episode that we ended up doing that in. But I think that it just fits. I think that it gives this episode like a very clear identity, and I really appreciate that about it. But other than that, this is another. Similar to the cereal episode, this is another very simple, kind of like grounded episode in the grand scheme of things. But I'm glad that it ended up being that. But we actually filmed this episode back to back with the cereal episode. That was actually an aspect of Cooking with Brennan season 2 that made it very distinct, at least in like me and Brennan's memory, I'm sure. Was that we filmed every time that we filmed episodes for this season, disregarding the final episode, we filmed multiple episodes in batches. We're disregarding the final episode and also the 5th episode of this season. Every time that we got together to film, we filmed 2 episodes basically. We filmed this episode with the serial episode. We filmed episodes 3 and 4 together. The gamer and the anime episodes, we filmed those at the same time on the same day. We filmed the ice cream and Lego episodes together, and we filmed the second Frank episode and the mac and cheese episode on the same day. The only 2 episodes that we didn't do that with this season were the party episode and the final episode, the big elaborate final dish episode. But yeah, that did make like the act of recording these videos a little bit more strenuous than usual. Cause usually, we would just film like one Cooking with Brennan episode whenever Brennan would come over to film. And it was a very simple, like hour and a half long endeavor. Just because the episodes were pretty short. But with these, every time that we got together to film, it usually took about 2 to 3 hours. Which, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're like constantly filming and, putting all of your energy into something like this, like it does like feel like longer. And, but it was still fun. Like, obviously we still had a really good time doing it, but it really did like, we could feel the work that we were putting into it. The only reason why we did that with these like episodes is just because, around this time, me and Brennan got a lot more busy, and we just didn't have as much time in our schedules to get together to film. So basically, every time that we had availability to film, we wanted to make the most of it. So we were just like, all right, we're gonna try to film 2 episodes back to back, and that was really hard for me because I had to finish 2 scripts around the same time, and I tried to make them like as equal quality. I didn't want to cheap out on the quality of each episode just because we were filming both of them together. And I don't think that really happened. I'm still very much like proud of these episodes. Like I said, like again, like these are pretty grounded episodes in the grand scheme of things, but these 2 were this was also really nice because this was like the first time that me and Brennan got together to film anything in a while. So I think getting to do this episode alongside the serial episode was nice, a really good way to get back into the swing of things. And they were both just really fun. It was like, it definitely reminded me, and I'm sure it reminded Brendan too, of like why we wanted to make these videos in the first place. Cause they just are like a really fun, thing to do, and a really fun excuse to, just get together and just, have fun and just kind of mess around with filming all this, absurd stuff. And And I really appreciate that. I really appreciated those times that we got to do that. But other than that, this episode, like I said, this episode was fairly simple. But it was still a really fun time. So I'm glad we got to do it. And with that, though, that's going to conclude this commentary. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.